So we have an absolute Barefoot Shoes emergency on our hands. I woke up yesterday to an email from one of my favorite brands, Realfoot. They make extra wide Barefoot shoes, and it's really rare because there are only like 3 brands that do it. So for anyone with wide or extra wide feet, they've always been one of the best options. But essentially the email was like, yeah, we've been struggling for years to make as many sales as we need to make, and it's just not worth it anymore. So we're looking for an investor or someone that wants to buy out the company. And if we don't get that, we're gonna shut down Realfoot. And if that happened, it would be a huge loss to the barefoot community because of the 3 brands, Realfoot, Softstar, and Balenka. Softstar is a little bit thicker, so if Realfoot went, we'd only be left with Balenka for extra wide shoes. Maybe there are other brands that I'm missing, but those are the main ones. And so I'm making this video because I think there are like 3 main things that we could do together to maybe help Realfoot pull through this. And the first one is like, if you've seen Realfoot or you haven't seen them before, maybe you could just like leave them some feedback about what you'd like to see. For me, I think the main thing is that they probably have to make some styles in a regular width, like a regular wide instead of extra wide, because as you probably know, if you've seen Barefoot shoes, it's really hard to get people to try anything new. Like if it feels different, if it looks different, people are not willing to go out on a limb. And so I think that would really help pull a lot more people into Realfoot if they had some regular width styles. But then the second way that we can help out Realfoot is if you have any contacts in terms of investors or people that are into marketing, anyone that could help them out in a business or social media perspective with new ideas or funding or whatever it is, that would be really cool. You can leave that in the comments, or you can just send it to them directly, again, through the customer service email. And then finally, if you currently need a pair of Barefoot shoes or boots, now would be a good time to buy because they put everything on sale. So I'll just go through and show you some of my favorite shoes from Realfoot that I wear a lot. The City Jungle is a nice one. It's super lightweight. It has kind of like a minimalist design to it, which is cool. It works for both business and casual. It has an extra wide toe box, like I said, really nice suede upper. It's just soft. The whole shoe feels really comfortable. It doesn't like pinch or rub anywhere. It's got a stitch sole for durability as well. And then they get a little bit more narrow in the back, which is kind of nice because the material is super flexible. It's not a problem with being too tight, but it helps with someone like me that has medium width feet, because if they had a super wide ankle, I'd just be like slipping around in there. So it's a really nice combination. You get the snugness in the back, and then the open wide toe box in the front where you can fit toe socks or toe spacers, or just if you have extra wide feet. And then for the sole, it's 4mm, and I love Realfoot sole. It's one of my all-time favorite barefoot soles because it's super flexible, really lightweight and agile, has an excellent grip, really good durability for how thin it is. Like, this is a 4mm sole, which is quite thin, and I've taken it on gravel and rocks, and apparently they've made it to like military grade standards, which seems to track with me because I like wearing these for casual hiking and stuff like that. If you're into high top sneakers, this is the Canva. It's kind of like a Converse or PF Flyers, has a canvas upper, extra wide toe box also, and then a little bit more slim in the back, stitch sole, and that same 4mm tread that's super flexible. For training, this is the Natural Runner. Again, it's super lightweight. Feels like the Vivo Barefoot Primus Lite in terms of weight, but it has an extra wide toe box, some really good breathability here. And then they use like a nice soft suede up front. So that's important if you're doing longer runs, so that you're not getting rubbing or anything like pressing or pinching on your toes. There's mesh panels on the side too, so it's a good option for hot weather. You get a lot of airflow coming in through here. And then, like I said, more snug around the ankle, which is nice for running, but it's padded as well. It has very comfortable ankle lining. And again, sole is very nice for doing pavement. Feels soft rolling down when you're running, but then when you go on gravel, it has a little bit of extra protection and grip as well. Probably not the best option for doing intense cross training where you're doing really hardcore side to side stuff, because the upper is pretty flexible. It doesn't have, those extra plastic supports or anything in there. But for casual training, lifting at the gym, everything else, it's awesome. For a lower cut, more like Adidas Samba type option, they have the Capero. They're actually at my dad's house right now, so I can't show you in person. But they're awesome for soccer. I use them for juggling a soccer ball with my dad, and they'd be great for indoor soccer as well. Plus just any other casual sports where you need a lot of grip, like that extra wide toe box really helps grab onto pavement. And then finally, this is is the Realfoot Trekker High. This is my all-time favorite winter barefoot boot out of any brand, not just Realfoot. And especially for winter, the extra wide toe box is great because it gives you so much room to stack up multiple layers of socks in there. And then again, it's super soft. This is softer than any winter boot that I own. And the lace loops here are even made out of fabric, so it's even softer. Sometimes if you have these metal grommets down here where the boot is flexing, you can kind of feel it. It makes it a little bit harder. But the tongue is also gusseted and it's insulated inside. It's got some really comfortable padding around the ankle. Overall, this boot just feels like a giant sock. You've got the quick releases up here, which is nice for easily taking it on and off. And because it's so soft, it's very easy to slide even thick socks in there. Also has a highly water resistant lining in there. It's not 100% waterproof, but I've been in some pretty sloppy conditions with slush and even going through light puddles, and it works very well. Plus it's leather, so you can treat it with wax if you need to. I haven't even needed to do that, you know? And it's also got that same 4mm sole, which is really nice for going on like walks to the grocery store if you're going on light gravel or, you know, pavement or even small size rocks. Plus for winter, like I said, the grip is just excellent, you know? It's a pretty tough rubber, and then it's just got so much surface area for going on, you know, light ice and stuff like that. And I just love the grip for winter because if you're on slightly icy patches, I mean, nothing's gonna save you on complete black ice, you know, unless you have spikes. But if it's kind of like that gravelly sort of ice, it grips really well because there's just so much more surface area here. And then if you put like a thin wool felt insole in the bottom layer, these things just become buttery smooth walking on pavement. I could just walk all day long with no foot pain at all. So anyways, that's what's going on with Realfoot. It's really sad. It really does break my heart. And I hope that together we can do something about this. Like, even if it's just sending an email to their customer service and saying like, hey, I've tried Realfoot shoes and I love them. Here's what I love about them. Thank you so much for doing this, making extra wide options for barefooters out there. It could make a huge difference to a small company. And I know it takes time out of your day even just to leave a comment, but I guess if you need any motivation, I would just think about companies like Nike that every day they're just raking in the cash, destroying people's feet with toxic footwear and those horrible pointy toe boxes and mushy cushions. So if you could help out even in a small way, whatever you can, they would really appreciate it. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, thank you for watching this video. I'll catch you next time. Peace.